They called it just a routine audit. But I knew better. The numbers didn't lie, people did. And when the VP of Finance smiled across the table and told me, "Let's keep this internal, Susan," I realized he wasn't protecting the company. He was protecting himself. I didn't argue. I documented. I timestamped. I waited. Because revenge doesn't always come with noise or fury. Sometimes it comes through a spreadsheet, a signature, and a single email sent to all recipients. 3 years. That's how long I'd worked at Parallax Corp. Long enough to know every department's rhythm, every shortcut people thought no one noticed. I wasn't flashy, I wasn't loud. My job was simple. Make sure the numbers told the truth. Then Craig arrived. Fresh from another firm. All sharp suits and fake charisma. He'd lean over people's desks, call women kiddo, and joke that compliance was a speed bump, not a stop sign. The first time he said it to me, I smiled politely and wrote it down in my notes, word for word. It started small. Expense reports just over approval limits, adjustments in quarterly filings, missing receipts that somehow still cleared. I flagged them. Craig brushed them off. "We're streamlining," he'd say, like ethics were a nuisance slowing down progress. But then came the merger. $2 billion on the line. Every number mattered. That's when I noticed entire account chains rerouted. Money shifting through subsidiaries that hadn't existed 6 months ago. When I asked about them, Craig gave me that smirk again. "Don't worry, Susan. Stay in your lane." I did stay in my lane. I just widened it. I archived emails, mirrored servers, printed backup copies of the ledgers. Each night before I left, I stored another file on my encrypted drive. Then one Friday morning, I got the call. HR. "Susan, bring your badge." No explanation. No goodbye. Just like that. 3 years gone. What they didn't know was that when they cut off my access, the system didn't just deactivate me, it triggered a backup. Every file Craig thought he'd buried was now sitting safely on my home laptop. That weekend, I sat in my apartment surrounded by printouts, highlighters, and half-empty coffee mugs. My cat watched from the windowsill like some quiet witness to the crime scene of spreadsheets and sticky notes. I wasn't angry, at least not yet. I was focused. Every document told a story, and Craig's story was sloppier than he realized. Shell accounts under the same vendor IDs. Duplicate invoices for consulting fees. Transactions routed through subsidiaries that existed only on paper. He thought deleting emails would cover his tracks, but Parallax's compliance server logged everything. The man left digital footprints like a toddler in wet paint. Still, I needed proof that would stick. One wrong move and they'd call it a misunderstanding. Corporate fraud, after all, only matters when someone's reputation, not justice, is on the line. By Monday, I'd already crafted my plan. I wasn't going to storm into the office screaming corruption. I was going to let the system expose itself. First, I contacted the one person Craig had underestimated. Our external audit consultant, Maria. She'd worked with Parallax for years, sharp, fair, and allergic to corporate nonsense. I didn't send her evidence directly. That would have broken confidentiality. Instead, I sent her a polite message. Maria. I think there are discrepancies in the vendor files related to Project Northwind. You might want to request raw data access before sign-off. Susan. That was all it took. A seed planted. Within 48 hours, the auditors were asking questions Craig couldn't answer without contradicting himself. Next came the backup trigger. When I was offboarded, I'd coded a small automation, an innocuous-sounding script called report_sync.py. It was scheduled to execute every Friday at 6 a.m. Its job: to pull every newly modified finance file into a secure cloud folder linked to my personal archive. So even though I was gone, every cleanup Craig ordered was being quietly mirrored into my possession. By Thursday, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. "Ms. Weston? This is Deborah from the board's audit committee. We're conducting an internal review. Would you be available to clarify a few accounting inconsistencies?" Inconsistencies. That word made me smile. We met over Zoom the next morning. Craig wasn't there yet. He'd apparently lost connection. I walked them through my documentation, my timestamps, and how the vendor trails didn't align. I didn't accuse. I just presented facts. Cold, calm, and undeniable. Halfway through, Craig finally joined the call. His camera flickered on. His face looked like someone had pulled him out of a cold shower mid-dream. "Susan," he said, forcing a grin. "I think there's been some confusion. These files were preliminary." I interrupted, polite but firm. "Actually, Craig, those were finalized 3 weeks ago. Your signature's embedded in the metadata." Silence. The kind that hums in your ears. Then a soft click as one of the board members unmuted. "Mr. Lawson, we'll need a detailed explanation for that." He fumbled. Deflected. Tried humor. But numbers don't laugh. When the call ended, Deborah sent me a short message. "Thank you, Ms. Weston. This has been illuminating." I didn't reply. I just closed my laptop, exhaled, and let the quiet sink in. That evening, my phone buzzed with a text from an old colleague still inside the company. "You started something big. Legal's involved. Craig's been temporarily relieved." I stared at the message for a long time. Relief, vindication, maybe a bit of sadness. It all mixed together. Because as satisfying as justice feels, it never erases the betrayal that came before it. Still, one thing was clear. The game had officially begun. Craig had tried to bury me with paperwork. He just forgot I was the one who wrote the manual on where to dig. For the next week, silence. No calls, no emails. Just the faint thrill of knowing the machine was finally turning on itself. But beneath that quiet, I could sense movement. People whispering, deleting old chats, rewriting history one Slack thread at a time. Then, on Wednesday morning, my inbox pinged. A single line from Deborah, the audit chair. "We'd like you to attend Friday's board session as an external consultant." External. I smiled at that word. No longer an employee, no longer under Craig's chain of command. When I walked into the conference room that Friday, every executive seat was filled. The mood was tense, air thick with the scent of polished lies. Craig sat 2 chairs down, pretending confidence, but his pen kept tapping. Fussed. Nervous. Deborah opened the meeting. "Before we proceed with the merger," she said, "we have a discrepancy to resolve." She gestured toward me. "Ms. Weston, you have the floor." Craig turned slowly, eyes sharp. "This is unnecessary," he began. But I was already projecting the file. The one labeled vendor_delta_final.pdf. The numbers lit up the screen, clean, irrefutable. I didn't need to say a word. The room was about to speak for me. The moment the spreadsheet appeared, the room shifted. Conversations died mid-breath. Deborah leaned forward, scanning the highlighted cells. "These entries, they don't match the ledger totals." Craig tried to jump in. "Those are test values." I clicked once. The metadata tab expanded, showing timestamps, author IDs, and right there, his digital signature. "Test values don't carry authorization seals," I said softly. He went pale. The board chair rubbed his temples. "Craig, do you understand the magnitude of this?" He muttered something about clerical errors, but no one was listening anymore. Deborah turned to me. "Ms. Weston, thank you. We'll take it from here." Craig's eyes met mine as he gathered his notes, shaking hands betraying him. He opened his mouth to speak, but I stood first. "Next time," I said quietly, "try staying in your lane." Then I walked out, leaving silence behind me. By Monday morning, Craig's office was empty. His name scrubbed from the internal directory, his parking spot reassigned. The official email called it a leadership transition, but everyone knew the truth. Parallax doesn't transition fraud, it terminates it. Deborah called later that day. The board wanted me back, not as an employee, but as an independent compliance advisor. Triple my old rate. Clean slate. Direct reporting line to the audit committee. I accepted with a polite smile and one small condition. A written acknowledgement that my work had protected the integrity of the company's financial operations. When the signed letter arrived, I read it once, then archived it, just like every other file that had once tried to disappear. Some victories are loud. Mine wasn't. It came in whispers, signatures, and the quiet power of evidence. Now when someone jokes that compliance is boring, I just smile. Because behind every scandal that never happened, there's someone like me, patient, quiet, and armed with receipts.